it shakes your confidence in yourself, because till then you are all about the brands which supported you. IIM, ABN AMRO, Edelweiss, like you kind of realize that you yourself are not a brand unless you make yourself that, right? And that's the first time it kind of hit, and which was desperately depressing. Most people, and including me, I think we slot ourselves too early, saying I am a finance guy, I am a marketing guy, I am this guy, I am that guy. There is no such thing. You can be whoever you want to be at any point of time. I think it's a question of moving from step to step. I think entrepreneurs somehow start off very aggressive. They assume that the world is a place they will have to fight. You don't. The world is actually a nice place.
You must be thinking another pre-roll? Wait, let me just skip it. With All-Theory, there are some boring things which you can avoid, like the long wait for promotions or increments, or the numerous interviews before you land your dream job. At All-Theory, we make sure that you're future-ready and skilled to be in the top 0.5% class. Click on the link in the description now.
If you work hard, you will succeed. It's not. You will need some luck. Okay, you need plenty of luck, and you need patience, right? Success is not necessarily an instant formula.
Did you feel like a failure at that point of time when you shut it down? Do you feel like you could have maybe persisted more and tried the same idea, maybe in some other form?
So, in fact, that's actually exactly what we did. So, yeah, we felt like a failure. It was depressing as hell, right? It was really depressing because, after having spent a whole lifetime with a fantastic bull run behind you, like going from height to height to height, and then all of a sudden you reach a level where you say, damn, I didn't succeed. It shakes your confidence in yourself, because till then you are all about the brands which supported you. IIM, ABN AMRO, Edelweiss, like you kind of realize that you yourself are not a brand unless you make yourself that, right? And that's the first time it kind of hit, and which was desperately depressing. Now, at this time we were doing something completely unrelated, right? Which was actually key. So key to the later success, right? So we made a board game, right? Me and my co-founder, we were generally sitting around with nothing to do and made a board game. So a company called Toycraft, right, actually were nice enough to take our game and publish it, right? So that
publish it where? On the App Store? Or there was no App Store back then?
This is a board game.
This actual physical board game?
This actual physical board game. So
रात को बैठ के family के साथ खेल सकते हैं.
Correct, exactly. So that is the one. So they basically published it. So it went out to your Hamleys, Landmark, all of the. So it was on the shelves, which kind of brought confidence back. We were dead in the water, right? We were waiting for 4-5 months for the board game to get and we were saying, okay, I'm going to start looking for a job again. So my co-founder, who's a lot more, Kamlika, she is a lot more resilient. She's a total fighter. She said, why don't we take this idea to colleges? So we took it to colleges. Colleges said, this is all nice, but if you can take it online, that will be fantastic. So we said, okay, if you have to take it online, why would anybody buy like a simulation from us? You guys will do simulations in your MBA. Pretty much, it's a done thing. So there were very few Indian simulations back then. Say, why would somebody buy? So they say, okay, let's go to ISB. She's from ISB, and try and convince them to do for us to do a simulation for them. ISB said, great. Why don't you do one for us in December? And here's a very small amount of money, which we said, fine, we will find somebody to build it. None of us knew tech. Then we went out in the market, and there was nobody who was willing to do it at that price. More importantly, nobody was willing to do in that time frame. So the only way to fix it was to actually sit down, learn coding, and build it ourselves. And that, I think, that's one of the things in life which, when I look back, I can't imagine how arrogant we would have to be to believe that you can learn coding from scratch in 3 months, build a full-fledged simulation, and a fairly complex one at that, and make it work.
I mean, that actually is like fascinating. So what was your age when you started to learn coding?
This was 2010, 10. So I would be 34.
At the age of 34, you started to learn coding from scratch, and you had do you have any background in it, or
Just a bit which I had done during instrumentation and control engineering back in engineering.
in the 90s?
Yeah, in
So
the
it's
90s.
Absolutely. A lot of it would have been irrelevant as well.
Completely irrelevant. Like nobody was coding in C, and definitely. So like the person who had asked, who's actually an investor in our business now, he's also like a very, very senior person in Google. So he came and said, you have to build it on Ruby on Rails. And for the life of me, I had bought books on Java and saying, now I'm going to figure out Java. And say, what is Ruby on Rails? Like, what the hell are you talking about? He said, if you have to build this, you have to build on Ruby on Rails. So learning the entire concept, everything. But here I would do a hat tip to the open source community, right? It is insane. If you want to learn coding today, okay, that is not a difficult skill. There is enough stuff. The community is fantastic. People are giving away stuff for free, which they can make tons of money on, right? But it's just a brilliant community.
Yeah, also a lesson for a lot of us that upskilling is a lifelong thing, and you can learn whatever you want at any age.
Absolutely.
And with the internet, of course, everything is available as well. But I think it's harder because you feel like you can't unlearn and learn new things late in life. And hats off to you that you were actually able to learn something from scratch like this.
It's desperation. I think that's one of the things. Entrepreneurship brings about certain amount of desperation, which allows you to do a set of stuff which you don't think. It's like that Dark Knight Rises, right? That's where it was, right? When you have to jump, as long as you have a rope tied to yourself around you, you would never be able to make that jump. Only when you have to commit and you have no choice, that's when you actually really, really make it. And that's the thing. And the point of like upskilling, I think most people, and including me, I think we slot ourselves too early, saying I am a finance guy, I am a marketing guy, I am this guy, I am that guy. There is no such thing. You can be whoever you want to be at any point of time. I think it's a question of moving from step to step.
So you learned coding, you built an entire simulation. How has all of that led to your current company, and what is it that you're doing now?
So our first business, which was Holistics, which was that career counseling thing, bombed completely. Though very honestly, I sometimes feel that if we had stuck, maybe it would, because there are a lot of companies today which are doing similar stuff, who are doing a great job, right? I have a friend in a company called Mindler who does similar stuff, and they're doing really, really good work. The idea was, when we built this simulation, then we went to lots of colleges. Then we realized that ISB is literally one of the few colleges in India which can afford to buy simulations or get custom simulations created. So we said, okay, so why don't we take it to corporates? So we took it to companies. Now companies said, yeah, fine, the simulation's good, but we need to be able to teach people stuff as well. So we created basically a content creation product, and that kind of evolved. We shut down our company from that time around 2016, and around 2017 we incorporated we kind of started and built out the SaaS product that we kind of run right now.
Which is QuoDeck.
Which is QuoDeck, yeah. Which is QuoDeck.
And the previous company was Totem Learning.
Yeah, it was Totem Learning.
So what is, if somebody had to ask you, what is QuoDeck in like one line, what is QuoDeck?
Okay, so we are basically a gig training platform. It's a product for gig and value chain training. So we work with large companies. So let's say if you take a company like Unilever, their distributor sales forces are taught on our platform. So that's the kind of stuff. Flipkart sellers are on our platform, that kind of stuff.
What is the edge that you feel you have that other people don't have?
There are a couple of things, right? One is I have always fundamentally believed that learning is, either there are people who want to learn, but there's a whole lot of people who need to learn, and they don't necessarily feel that they want to learn quite actively, right? So you have to make it interesting for them. So our gaming background, so our entire idea of games, so we use that to kind of make things interesting, right? So you have like quiz-based games, you have game contests, etc., where while you play the game, you learn the entire, whatever you need to learn. So that's really been our edge. And of course, now our edge is a lot of deep tech about large-scaled, like 100,000, 200,000 people simultaneously consuming a fair amount of content with a lot of analytics being calculated and stuff. So that part has become very strong, thanks to my team.
What are the big mistakes that you think professionals make in their career? and big mistakes that you think entrepreneurs make, which, I mean, if you got a chance, I would say advice is a strong word, but your suggestion would be for people to not do that.
Let me start with the professionals. I think there's a tendency to jump jobs, right? So when you are like about 20, 22, all the way like, so there are people who jumped a lot of jobs in their 20s and early 20s until 30, 32, who seem to be doing far better than people who stuck to jobs, right? But when I see those same people at 40, the people who stuck to jobs are now at very, very senior positions, like leagues ahead of anybody who has jumped a lot of jobs. So one of the mistakes which professionals make is jumping jobs too much. Second is the point which I made, which is slotting too early. I think people slot themselves too early, saying, this is who I am. You're nothing yet, right? When you're starting, so coming out of an MBA, you say, I'm a finance guy. No, you're not. You don't know shit right now. You will learn everything as you work. Okay, if you feel that you are better at marketing, better at, so be it, right? Segue into the third point. Most people don't realize that people management is a different skill than being good at something, right? So if I might be a fantastic trader, but doesn't mean I would be able to run a team of traders. So a lot of people make the mistake of going up the ranks as managers, okay, and get depressed and unhappy in the process because they may not like that, right? There are individual contributor roles which you can carve out, okay? But if you are managerial sort, then you will see a lot more success in slightly later in your career, right? So I know a bunch of friends who are in their main job. When they do it themselves, they are not that great. But when they get it done from a set of people, they are like spectacular. My engineering head is somebody right now who can get the best out of the team. I don't know how good he would be himself, right, at the coding aspect, but the way he can help the team, he takes care of them, that's huge. Right, so those are the three things which I think for professionals. Also, by the way, a fourth one, quick one, please believe in compounding. Okay, buy insurance early. Okay, please get your SIPs going. Okay, it really makes a difference. You will not appreciate it today. Okay, but be kind to your future self. Most of us see our future self as this distant alien person who we don't like to think about, but yeah, be kind to your future self. Put in like small amounts. It really makes a difference, right? Trust me, guys, on this one. Okay, entrepreneurship is not about starvation. Most of us just go hardcore Spartan, saying, I am not going to allow myself anything, right? I have a friend who, from driving everywhere in a Skoda, when he started entrepreneurship, he started traveling by the trains. And for the life of me, I couldn't imagine why he would do something like that, right? I know he will beat me up for referring to this. I've told him this as well. But yeah, this is...
I mean, he must be saving money, right?
But that doesn't matter. You're never going to run out of thousands of rupees. When you run out of money, you'll run out of money in a big way, right? Then the amount of money which you have saved for that, I think it's more mindset.
But it could also be like a psychological signal to yourself that, yes, okay, I'm frugal now, and hence, although I can afford it, I want to be conservative.
Agreed. But my point is, don't focus on that. Don't be frugal, that's not really, the frugality is not really the thing that will drive the success of a business. So, which is the other thing which I think entrepreneurs do wrong. They try and, there are people who say, I can't afford to buy a CRM, so I am going to create my own CRM. Your time is more precious than money in a lot of cases. Please ensure that you do that balance. Not every time, right? I think entrepreneurs somehow start off very aggressive. They assume that the world is a place they will have to fight. You don't. The world is actually a nice place, right? In my entrepreneurship journey, the one thing which I have seen is there are people more people are there who will help you than people who will take advantage of you. People are not. So I gave you the example of Toycraft, right? I gave you the example of ISP. Unilever trusting us at a point of time when we started our product. So there's a whole bunch of people who will be willing to give you a chance, but then you have to make it worth. So investors in our company at the seed stage, right? They are people who took a punt on us, right? Who took a chance on us, saying like, okay, give it your best shot, right? You have to make it. You have to succeed for their sake because they believed in you. Yeah, but trust that the world's a nice place. Yeah?
That's a very nice thought, actually.
You would agree, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I can relate to this particular bit about starting off as wanting to fight, but actually realizing that everybody's there to help, which makes absolute perfect sense. Okay, thanks for that, Arijit. I think it was awesome listening to you. Opening up the floor for questions now.
So my name is Paritosh. I'm currently working in a startup as an operations manager. Hoping to get into a B school this year, prepared for CAT and everything, gave my interviews. So going into B school right now, like fundamentally a lot of things would have changed when you did your MBA and right now, and the market itself has shifted a lot. So what are the things, what are the opportunities you should look at a B school, target those things and get those experiences? What would you suggest someone who is going to do an MBA now?
So most of the schools teach you the basic concepts of business. You know, they teach you how to see patterns, understand how basic concepts work, right? My suggestion is always to build up a skill that you want to try out and put out, right? So let me give you an example. There are a lot of people who we hire who fundamentally have done work around, let's say, who have coded themselves, right? So they are basically marketing people, but they have learned coding themselves, right? There is something which they have kind of focused on and succeeded outside of their studies, and that really helps in the hiring, right? That really helps in the hiring, because otherwise you are one of many, because ultimately everybody has done pretty much the same courses, right? That specialization, that specific thing, I think that makes a huge difference.
So like in B school, there are a lot of things to do. There are case competitions,
yes.
There are student exchange programs, committees, clubs and everything.
Yeah.
And somewhere or the other, you are like, yahan aa gaye, to let me do everything. But that doesn't work out. So if something actionable has to be done in B school, what would you suggest? Like, pick this. This might help you in the long run.
Make friends, okay, if that's the kind of stuff which you're into. But the question fundamentally, you are saying that you have a limited amount of time. No, you don't. You don't have a limited amount of time. You have as much time as you can make. Sleep a little less, rest a little less, don't party less, party a lot, but keep aside. So the trick to learning anything is really just to keep some time aside every day, right? Now you can learn how to play, PUBG in that time, which is also not a bad thing. I'm a gamer, but you can use that to pick something up. And I'm saying that allows, so there were people who used to, even back then, who would say, oh, I am an expert at World War II tanks, right? And then when the interviewer would speak to them, that they knew everything about those tanks, right? Somebody who would say photography, and they could talk like extensively, they could show their portfolio, building up something which makes you special and unique. Because most people miss the point that actually getting into the B school is step one. The most important part is how you get out. Your first job after your B school is a very critical one, right? Most of us will not do a one more degree after our B school, right? So the B school degree is pretty much the last one, and the jump that it gives you for your first job is important. So being able to crack that first job well is absolutely critical, right? I think you guys are fortunate because you guys are coming into a world where you will find it easier to get a lot of good opportunities if you're ready for it.
Okay, with that, we'll close this session. Thanks a ton, Arijit, for doing this on a
absolute pleasure.
Thursday morning. And I think it was very enlightening personally for me as well. And I think there'll be a few million people watching this online later on, and I think they're going to find it useful for many years, I hope, and not just months.
I hope so too, yeah.
Thank you so much. A big round of applause for Arijit, please.
Thanks, guys.
You must be thinking another pre-roll? Wait, let me just skip it. With All-Theory, there are some boring things which you can avoid, like the long wait for promotions or increments, or the numerous interviews before you land your dream job. At All-Theory, we make sure that you're future ready and skilled to be in the top 0.5% class. Click on the link in the description now.